So here's Fatal Fury 2. This is a game that I picked up and started running um, because of Terry Bogard coming to Smash. Because as a kid, I loved Fatal Fury. Everybody was all about Street Fighter, but I'm a big Fatal Fury fan. Let me make sure when I'm good to go. Yeah, they all get pretty depressing endings. Like the only one who always gets a good ending is Elwin and Liana, unless you do the independent route where like you become the evil overlord of the world, and then Liana commits suicide because she can't handle how terrible a person you are. So in Fatal Fury, we're going to play this on game level 1. I'm just waiting for the go-ahead to go for it. Fatal Fury is interesting, mostly because you can see this dynamic where there's 2 different levels you can fight on. So that's always interesting. In the speedrun, I really hope I don't have to switch levels. That's never good. It's a big time loss. But Der Langrisser is a fantastic game, the one I just ran. I would love for other people to learn it, maybe find something I missed. It'd be awesome. Yeah, there's good endings in Der Langrisser. Like, Keith. Keith's probably my favorite character in my casual playthrough. He like saves the world, meets his true love, saves her from monsters, and they are happily ever after. His bad ending is that he can't save her and she dies. So the big thing we're going to see today is how well can Tave do quarter circle backs. When I first started running this game, I barely broke 19 minutes, and it was hard for me to break 19 minutes. Like, it was a huge struggle. And then I came back to it because I submitted it for this about a month later. And all of a sudden, quarter circle backs were something I could do easily, and I lowered my time to a 17:28. Let me reset my timer here. So while we're waiting for the SG to update the layout, I think that's what we're waiting on. For this run, I'm going to use Terry Bogard. I've tried using other characters, and they just don't work as well as Terry does. I've tried it with Camp Capwan. I've tried it with Andy Bogard. I've tried it with Master Jubei. I've tried it with Joe. I'm just not good at Joe's special moves. So Terry's who we're going to be using. You might be able to use Mai. In fighting games, I've always struggled with the hold back or hold in a certain direction for 2 seconds. Slower than doing quarter circle backs and quarter circle forwards. I mean, I think that's the fancy way to say what we're really doing. As a kid, I would refer to those as Hidokens and reverse Hidokens. I haven't, because her moves are the whole 2-second ones, and I'm not good at those. I hope to never get to low enough health that Power Geyser is an option. I'm debating picking up the first Fatal Fury. It's about I want to say it's a 12-minute run, and that one uses Andy. Alright, so it sounds like we are all set to go with Fatal Fury. So let me just make sure we have it on game level 1. We want this to be easy and fast. It's going to be bad enough if I mess up my quarter circle backs. So if you ever do want to run this game, in your submission video you do need to have you making sure that it shows that it's on game level 1. That is one of the things that you need to make sure of. Time's actually going to start when I select Terry as my fighter, which means I'm going to start fighting Terry first. Just because it's faster to select him. Alright, so Terry is actually one of the harder fights because he blocks. He's one of the only characters who blocks a lot. So let's see if he behaves. So we have to do a lot of throws with him. Oh, he went to the back. This is going to be bad. And this is where we would definitely reset. We're probably going to lose a lot of time on this. So that was actually really bad. That's probably about 23 seconds slower than what we want, just because you jumped to the back. So that's one quarter circle back messed up. Oh, dang it. Now we're doing this game again. So that's a lot of time that we're going to lose here, which is fine. Terry's probably the hardest fight, and we actually don't get another hard fight until Chang Xing's on. Alright, so here comes Big Bear. He should... Let's see if he behaves. He's not too bad if he behaves. Like, he's like the worst in the first Fatal Fury game as Raiden, and in this one he's not too bad at all. So what I'm doing here is using Fierce Punches, because the Fierce Punch, when I hit him, it actually backs me up a bit, and while I'm getting backed up, I'm putting in the quarter circle back to come in for the Burning Knuckle. It didn't work out the way it was supposed to there because I was a little slow on my initial punch, and so he had time to block, which made us lose about 3 or 4 seconds on what we would want to do there. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. Sometimes I would love to take damage here. Because then you don't get the additional time loss for getting the, hey, you got a perfect. But a lot of times it's just not worth it to take the time loss. So Kim Kapwan, he should work exactly the same way that Big Bear did. Sometimes he gets a little crazy. He does his little air kick thing, but we're hoping he doesn't. There we go. That's exactly what we want to see. Raiden is awful. Like, in the first Fatal Fury game, I think I wasted 2 or 3 rental cycles and never was able to beat Raiden. Oh, he was getting frisky there. You could see on his movement. Alright, let's see if we can just get him with this fierce punch. There we go. So that was some time loss because of the block, but it was not too bad. That was actually a pretty good round. By the time it shows me what all my points are on a perfect, it takes 7 seconds for it to all count down and show me that I got a perfect. So now we get to go fight our brother Andy. For some reason, even though Andy trains in Japan, in this game he's in Italy. Sometimes the fierce power burning knuckle, the fierce punch works on him. Sometimes he doesn't behave because he does backdashes. But we're gonna give it a shot, see what happens. There we go. That was a little bit slow. I was slow on one of my punches, so it was an 80 instead of an 81, but that's still really good for Andy. Yeah, Kim Kapwan is what his name is. Kim Kapwan is actually really, I think he's cool in the animes. He doesn't get a very big part in the animes, but I think he's cool. See how he backdashed, and so he avoided all my damage? That's one of those things that cost me time. So still 77 perfect, which isn't bad. I would have preferred to take damage if I was going to be at 77 seconds, which gets me closer to the 81 with a perfect. Yes, this is an SNK game. It came out and it was the competitor with Street Fighter, and sadly it lost. Because I'm a big fan of this game. So here's where we get a 45-second break. You might be used to in Street Fighter where you have to break the car, and you want to break the car fast, or you want to make sure that you destroy all the boxes. Here, I'm going to let this big stone pillar just chill there, and we're not going to touch it because we don't want it to count down points for how many we beat up. I like the downward air bicycle kick, so I thought Kim was going to be somebody I could use instead of Terry for the runs, but his backwards by the downward crescent kick that he does doesn't cover as much of the screen. Yeah, I love the Fatal Fury animes. I'm not gonna lie, they are amazing. I love the storyline in Fatal Fury, the motion picture. I wish they made a game based on that story. Alright, so Cheng Xing's on. He is one who he can really derail a run. We're going to hope he doesn't, but if his hand glows, it's not going to be fun. Okay, don't block. The thing that makes me laugh about Cheng Xing's on is the fact that his block... That was bad. That was 3 missed quarter circle backs. And here's where he gets to be a jerk. What makes me laugh is when he blocks, he actually shoves his stomach out, and so you hit his stomach on his blocks, and that just makes me laugh. So that was not a good fight, but I didn't get it perfect, so that just gives it some redeeming qualities. So let's hope that we don't mess up 3 quarter circle backs in a row again. Now, I do walk him back into the corner on purpose. That's going to be very important for a later fight with Lawrence Blood. We really want him back in the corner. So that was actually pretty decent second round for Cheng Xing's on. It was a very bad first round, but second round was really good. So we should only lose about 3 seconds there. Here comes Mai. Hype in chat for Mai. I'm just going to wait for her to jump forward, hopefully. There we go. Okay, so we aren't getting a perfect, which is fine. And we're just going to hopefully fierce punch on our way up. Okay. Darkstalkers is really awesome. Darkstalkers is a game I would like to start running once I get a PlayStation hooked up. The Darkstalkers arcade world record was just set, I think about a month ago. with John Talbane being the character of choice. So we're going to do the Burning Knuckle to Fierce Punch moves here. I was actually trying to punch her. That was not just a bunch of bad quarter circle backs. Now, for all you Mai fans, how many of you realize that she wasn't actually meant for the game? It was supposed to be a male ninja, and at the during the end of production, they switched it to being Mai, so there was female representation in the game. Alright, here's Joe. Sometimes Joe can be a jerk. Let's find out. Yep. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. There we go. So, usually I want to get a 77 there, but I have less life to count down, and I am not getting a perfect, so it should be a wash, even though Joe was kind of a jerk with his movement there at the beginning. See, that's more like what we want. 78 would even be better. The big key to Fatal Fury is not getting tilted when they block you. Just, have a backup in mind. Maybe even do a dash back to give yourself some room. We're coming up on what I consider the hardest fight in the game. I really hate Master Jubei. If he Demon Rushes me off the bat, it's going to be an ugly round. Because his Demon Rush cancels out my Burning Knuckle. I do not Fierce Punch him because I do not want to deal with if he blocks. That was too early. Oh, here goes what Jubei does. Okay, so that was a lot of lost time, but luckily we took a lot of damage. And that's just what happens. Like, I put it in my Burning Knuckles a little bit early, and Jubei capitalizes. That's what it should have looked like the first round. So as bad as that was, over my PB, this actually saves time. That actually is like 2.5 seconds faster than my PB. That's how bad my PB was with Jubei. In my PB, I accidentally knock him to the background, which is totally RNG dependent. So like I hit him, and for some reason the game decided that he got knocked to the back row, and then I just lost time because then you're fighting behind those screens, and you can't always see what's happening, and it is just terrible. I would have been better off not following him in my PB. But now we're coming up on the final 4 bosses. You might recognize the first one. It's going to be Billy Kane. We're going to fight him up in Big Ben because why not? Because unlike Street Fighter, in Fatal Fury, you actually fight in streets. Just throwing that out there. I have fought in more streets in Fatal Fury 2 than you fight in streets in Street Fighter 2. Just saying the game's misnamed. And even though we are in Billy Kane's stage, for some reason, it's going to fly us around the world back to it. We're not just going to stay there. We're actually going to completely do the fly around the world to get back there. Here we go. I did my Fierce Punch too soon there. Got him. Yeah, China. Yes. Apart from Chun-Li's stage, where else do you fight in the street? There we go. Perfect Billy Kane. Alright, so now we're going to come up on Axelhawk. Axelhawk actually has more health than most of the fighters, so his fights take longer. Alright, and so for all you basketball fans out here, Axelhawk is the Steph Curry of Fatal Fury. There goes his mouth guard. It's more for show than actual any use. Oh, Axelhawk's misbehaving. Ooh, this has not happened before. That's what I get for making fun of all those Golden State fans a second ago. Axelhawk took it personal. Yeah, so something I forgot to mention. In Billy Kane's stage, Axelhawk's stage, and the Lawrence Blood stage that's coming up, the actual background, if you jump back, you take damage. You can't. You have to stay in the foreground the whole time. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot during Lawrence Blood, because this is the fight that is as bad as Master Jubei for me. Oh crap. Bad input. Because he was able to deal damage to me, it took longer to get the stun. So the big scary thing about Lawrence Blood, I forgot to mention beforehand, is because he's a bullfighter, he does this Olay thing, where like you might go straight through him and you end up in the corner, and then it's like, good luck getting out. Here we go. Hop back. Lawrence Blood very much is the fighter in the game where if things go wrong, you need to back up and reset or it's going to go bad fast. So here comes Krauser, everybody's favorite anime villain, at least in my house. You can actually go to the back row on his stage. We really don't want to. And time is going to be on the final hit. Okay, that's not a good way to start. Okay, we're not going to worry about Fierce Punching him. We are just going to Burning Knuckle him. The Fierce Punch has saved me time, but Burning Knuckle is safer. So this is the final boss. So I don't have to worry about countdown at the end of the next round because it's just straight up going to be once I hit him, that's time. Oh man, that's 2 times in a row you started with that. The big thing I would say for anybody who wants to pick this up as a speedrun is figuring out what your visual cues are for when people are going to stand up. So that's the big thing that, as a runner in this game, you have to learn, because I feel like people get up at different paces, and so I just have to learn my visual cues and my timing for each individual fighter. So that's Fatal Fury 2. It went a lot better than any of my practices did. So that's a 1756. So that's sub 18. That's really good. I think there's 3 runs on the leaderboard that are sub 18. So Terry Bogard has become the strongest fighter in the world. They don't say that about Ryu and Street Fighter. Alright, so now we are going to switch. Geese Howard is his half-brother. Geese Howard is the half-brother to Krauser. So now we are going to switch to my personal and favorite RNG pain, that is Gemfire.